Make or buy decisions. So in what cases are we going to manufacture the product at our home or in our manufacturing unit, and in what situation are we going to procure those products? So we need to do a trade-off here in make or buy. So the objective of this lecture is to differentiate between make or buy decisions taken at lower levels, to identify what drives operational and tactical make or buy decisions, to determine the differences in any between make, buy, outsourcing and subcontracting. Okay? And the objective is to explore the benefits, problems and a process for outsourcing, to determine the need to subcontract supplies, to determine appropriate performance criteria. And definition is: make or buy decisions compare the cost of producing a component or providing the service internally with the cost of purchasing the component or services from an external supplier. Strategic affects the shape and capabilities of the organization. Tactical deals with issues of temporary imbalances of capacity. Component decisions usually made at the design stage. Okay? Yeah, it's only 37, and most of the things is like not to discuss much. It's like reading thing, general knowledge. So they are talking about outsourcing. So what exactly is the outsourcing, and why do we need outsourcing? So outsourcing is the thing that when we are going in buy situation, correct? So according to the definition what they have provided, it says possibly a wider term than make buy, and the two terms can be used synonymously, but it is the strategic use of resources to perform activities traditionally handled by internal staff and their resources. Management strategy by which an organization outsources major non-core functions to specialized efficient service providers. Now in the IT industry, like you need a housekeeping thing, you need people to clean your restrooms and all those things. So this is not a core business of any IT company. The core business is to develop a software product. Okay, the pantry management, the cafeteria management, the cleaning management, making sure milk is available in the pantry, making sure your desk is correct. Also in your IT system, like making sure you're providing solution or solving the technical problems of a desktop or a laptop, so in a physical environment. So all these things are not the core important thing for an organization. Okay, so core thing could be a coding, core thing could be developing a software, a solution, an application. But if something happens to my desktop, that is not the core business of my IT company, although it is the duty of the IT company to resolve that problem. So for that scenario, that situation, people hire or people outsource these non-core activities to other companies. Okay, and those people will come and solve your problem. Okay, so the benefit here is that the main company should not consider or should not waste time, should not waste much time on non-core activities. And also they need to find it out that how much time, how much money will it be needed if they outsource it, and or if they do on their own. So this is the thing when your outsourcing comes into picture. So in outsourcing, what is a subcontracting? May be distinguished from outsourcing in that the latter involves the total restructuring of an enterprise around core competencies and outside relationships. Whatever the degree of outsourcing, enterprises must retain certain core capabilities. Outsourcing is a strategic long-term decision. Subcontracting is a tactical short-term approach. So here they are giving the information about a subcontracting and an outsourcing. So let's say when there is a project in an IT organization, so they are going to outsource it to India. Means it's a long-term thing, right? And in certain cases, when something is not happening with you, or you are into an emergency position, you will deliver it, you will outsource it, but at a very small, for a very small duration. And at that point of time, we will not say it as outsourcing, we will call it as a subcontracting. So that's what they have mentioned here. Tactical and strategy, these are the two criteria based on which we identify or evaluate any of the operation or any of the category.
Usually strategic decision means it is more than 1 year, and less than 1 year is tactical, right?
No, not exactly. Strategy is something which we are making it for a long term. That is fine.
More than a year, right?
Yeah, more than a year or maybe more than 6 months. Tactical is that at that point of time when you need to get your work done. So that is what is they are talking about the approach. Yes. Subcontracting may be an operational decision, and outsourcing could be a business decision. Levels of decision making. Operational strategies are concerned with short-term decisions, the integration of resources, process, people and skills, the implementation of corporate strategies. So on what basis or what are the different levels for decision making? One is at a corporate level. So corporate will define a strategy that, hey, in another 10 years we want to raise the not the productivity, sorry, we want to raise the revenue of my company, or we want to raise the growth of my company. So that will be at a corporate level. So they will say, okay, go and find out like who is the cheapest, not who is an inexpensive person, who is the organization who can develop or who can work this in an inexpensive manner, or they can say find it out that which is the place where they can get a land in a less cost. So these all are the corporate strategies. Now there should be the proper integration of resources, process, people and skill. So for whether in any industry, whether it's a manufacturing industry or an information technology industry, so you need to have a proper skill set, and skill set will be withheld with the people, right? So those people and you need to have resources. So basically resources, your people could be a resource, your machines like your computers, desktop, laptops could be a resource, and then you should be having proper processes. Okay. And then you are having the operational strategies. So what are the operational strategies are based on these two things. So next is tactical or business unit strategy. So this is a medium term strategy. Okay, it's based on the competitive strategy, developing market opportunities, developing new product services, resource allocation within strategic business unit, structure and control of the SBU. Corporate level strategic decisions are concerned with long-term decision making, overall purpose and scope, adding value to shareholder investment, portfolio issues, resource allocation between SBUs, structure and control of SBUs, corporate financial strategy. Tactical make or buy decision is based on the following levels, like deterioration in an existing supplier's performance. Okay, so you have a supplier, that supplier is not able to provide you the supplies in a correct manner or as per the contract. Okay, or his supplies quality has started deteriorating. So in all these scenarios, what are you going to do is you need to see whether you should go for an existing supplier or for a different supplier. Then delivery failure or poor service by existing source. So again, this is an issue. So in these things, what will give you, like, okay, I do outsourcing, or I give outsourcing or a subcontracting job to a different company, but that company is not giving me a quality work or is not providing the things on the time, at the correct time. Okay, so do I need to still outsource it, or is that a possibility to manufacture within my organization? So that will govern by your make and buy decisions will be governed by these points. Other thing could be that large price increase. If your supplier starts increasing price due to some reason, could be the market reason, or could be his need, then again you need to think whether you need to go for a make or buy. Volume changes, much larger or smaller quantity requirements for the item concerned. So basically these are the points through which you need to think, should I go for outsourcing this particular product or subcontracting, or should I start building them within our organization. So if you have a pressure within your organization to reduce cost, then again you need to think whether you should go for a make or buy, because what happens is that if you're going outside, and you're giving it to someone else, so it will have some cost involved, right? Also, in certain cases where you need to keep your design confidential, or you want to do the things like in your core competency on your own. So these are the criteria which will drive you, which will let you know whether you should go for a make or for a buy.
But import substitution.
What?
Import substitution, the last one.
Just a second. Import substitution. Okay, so for me, I get a job done from abroad. Okay, so I need to pay huge amount of taxes. Okay, so that is an import. Can I get the same thing within India instead of going to outside? Right? So let's say that you manufacture a sub assembly for a turbine, okay, and you go to Germany or you go to Sweden, and from there you are getting those things manufactured, but it is having huge amount of cost. So what you say is that, okay, I will start looking within India, that is there any supplier who can do the same type of job with the same quality and standard. If he can do that, then I will discontinue my outsourcing with my abroad partner and I will start continuing within India. So at the same time I am continuing to do outsourcing or subcontracting, but I am not doing it from outside. I am doing within the country. So that is what I have found a new supplier. Operational make-buy decisions. A simple and probably logical rule of thumb when considering whether to make or buy is to carry out a comparison of cost making ourselves with buying in. a number of questions need answering before deciding whether to make or buy. What volume do we expect to require? Okay. What capital investment is required to make the goods? What will be our peak demand? How much risk is associated with the technology required? In some case that you see that okay, there is a huge cost factor involved, and because of that you think that let's go and start on our own center for manufacturing that. But there would be a case that you are not technically sufficient to do that. Okay. If with the quality what a supplier provides you cannot manufacture that, then you cannot make the same part within your organization. You need to buy it. So you need to consider other points also, like how much waste or cost of rework can be expected. What level of inventory will be or our supplier hold? How long will the contract apply? What variation in material cost can be expected? Can we make more by concentrating on our special competencies than we save by carrying out the work internally? So something like you do not have a non-core job. You have a non-core job which you have outsourced it. Now that you want it to start doing on your own. So are you ready to do that? What is the money cost factor involved there? How much risk is there? And how much time and money will it take? In certain cases like housekeeping management, IT company when it goes into a housekeeping management, if they start considering that, then they need to employ an employee within the organization who should take care about all these things. All the housekeeping people should be an employee of the organization, so their salary will be increased. All the things we need to take care, but these things are a non-core activity, so companies outsource it. Okay. Then we have a checklist. Says if currently bought in, if you are currently buying it, and if you are currently making it. So what is the difference? Does the capacity exist within our own company? So let's say that I'm a bicycle manufacturing company and I need to have wheels. So I know my technology or my capacity is only to assemble it or to weld other parts apart from wheel. Now I want to move into wheel. So I need to think that do we have the capacity to cater this or not? If so, is capacity available for whole of planning period or only for a short interval of time? Right? And for is the raw material available at the economic rate or not? So if we answer these questions, then we may think that yes, why not? We can go to manufacture the cycle rims also within our organization. No. Then if these answer these things, then we can if we are currently buying, yes, if we are currently buying this, then we can manufacture it. Okay. Now in the other case, if we are currently making it and we need to go into a buying stage, then is there a matter of secrecy to be considered? Means that whatever the design on which we are making, is this design need to be kept secret? No one around the world should know about this? Then obviously we need to think that should we continue making this within our organization or should we go and buy this? If item is withdrawal from the production, what are the consequences? Okay. What action would need to be taken as a result of consequences? Another saying is that will the raw material continue to be available at economic rates for the planning period? If tooling is involved, what is the cost? What is the expected life? What is the delivery? So suppose today you are into a buying stage, and tomorrow you want to move into a make. So for that you need to set up a plant as well, correct? You will have a capital expenditure involved, and then you will have day-to-day operational expenditure involved. So will you get the value out from the product which you are going to manufacture within your organization, which currently you are buying it from outside? Okay. Then in the made-in situation, if tooling is involved, what is its condition? Can it be used by prospective source? Will the machinery involved in current manufacture be fully utilized for alternative work if the part is withdrawn? Okay. So again in bought-in, are we satisfied that the current supplier is the most economical source? Is there a patent involved and thus the possibilities of royalties to be paid? Is VAT chargeable? These are the important points which we need to concentrate on when we are taking a decision when we should going for a buying or we are going to manufacture within the organization.
There is some more.
Yeah. So is there the possibility of development work being done on the part? Can this be done satisfactory in conjunction with an outside source? What quantities involved interest and outside supplier? Is the current supplier doing development work towards an improved version of the item? Has the current supplier had difficulties with either quantity or time factors and have cost escalated as a result affecting the selling price? What is the true cost alternative supplier against manufacture, transport, handling cost, present and forward? Is the item part of an integrated production process, several stages of manufacture? Can outside manufacture be satisfactorily coordinated with production? Again, these are the points, like if supplier quality has been affected, or in a made in, like what is the forward market position for the item for the planning period? Is there any advantage in supplying new metal components if a decision is taken to buy? A useful technique. Hello?
Hello?
Yeah. Useful technique. Lucas Engineering and Systems take following consideration. How important is the process to our business? How competitive are we in relation to others undertaking the process? How strongly does this process impact on our measures of business performance? To what extent does the process have an impact on other products or services? Is the process linked to any of the strategic issues facing the business? So these are the points which we need to think when we are going to going into a make or buy decision, right? Suppose there is some activity which we are currently, if in we are buying stage, we want to do it in a making stage. So we need to set up, as I said, that we need to set up the factory. We need to keep the cost in mind. Also, when we are setting up a factory for that particular process, will that factory could be used for another process so that I can decrease the cost for my manufacturing? Or is that process linked to any of the strategic issues which business is facing? Correct? So these are the things if we think.
Hello?
Yeah. So next point is, what is outsourcing? Functions most easily outsourced according to UK government market testing. Resource intensive activities like high labor and capital cost. Like I gave the example of housekeeping in the IT industry where you need a high labor. Okay. Then relatively discrete areas of the organization, specialist areas, areas characterized by fluctuating work patterns in loading and throughput. Now, let's say your people who are into your net system management. So today your company employs, let's say, 100 people, and your system are very new, so you will not have much of work in managing the issues of desktop. Correct? Tomorrow you may have an issue, day after tomorrow you may not have an issue. So for those things, what we need to do is we need to outsource it to people, different companies, and we can outsource it to different companies, and we can save the cost because our employees are not sitting and doing that. So that is what they're talking about, fluctuating work patterns. Subject to dynamic market conditions for which it is costly to recruit and retain staff. Now, when I talk about the change strategy, or I talk about a hybrid strategy. Okay, let's take a change strategy. So in January you had a demand, Feb you had more demand, March you had more demand, April you have slightly less demand, then May you have slightly less demand. So it's basically going up and down. It's a random curve, right? So now for manufacturing that, you need to have the set of people who can, like, you need to have more people as the demand goes up, and you need to have less people. Correct? So there is no ordering system there. So what you need to do is you need to hire more people, and in certain cases you need to lay off more people. Okay? So what you will do is that instead of that, you will outsource it to a different company. The company will provide you people based, like you will have some contract with that outsource company, and using that contract you can satisfy your demand, whether it is a change strategy or a hybrid strategy. Examples of outsourced services like car park management, cleaning, catering, building maintenance, security, transport management, waste disposal, library, medical welfare, pest control, ground maintenance, computers and information technology. Okay. What not to outsource? Management of strategic planning. Now, Kingfisher as an airlines cannot outsource their board members, right? It's a Kingfisher who is running the operation. Or if you take example of any industry, is the high management who takes care about the strategic decision, who takes care about the growth of that organization, right? So we cannot outsource that. Then management finances. For a company, a finance is the most important thing, because based on the finance only, the company will be running. Now, if you outsource the finance department to some different things, the person who is from outside may either exploit the company, or is not in a position to work in a good manner for the finance decision, and that will impact the productivity of your company. Control of suppliers, quality and environment management. In a purchasing department, a purchase manager should have the proper control of suppliers. Okay, if you outsource this control to a third party, things may happen that you have loosened the control on supplier. You may not able to receive the material of the needed quality. You may not be able to get the exact number of quantity. You may not be able to meet your own delivery time. So these are the important core competencies of an organization. We should not be outsourced. Then talk about supervision of regulatory requirements, product liability, environment regulations, and etc. Now, types of outsourcing. we have like three types of outsourcing: a body shop outsourcing, project management outsourcing, total outsourcing. What happened? Companies like IT companies like TCS, Infi, Wipro, they hire people, okay, and in some cases they send people to different companies to work in that place. So that is what is called a body shopping. Okay.
Okay.
Same thing is applicable like for your facility management group, who is doing your cleaning job or maintaining your security. So these people are also outsourced. So they are also type of body shopping, right? Now project management outsourcing. Here what happens is that I'm building a project, okay, and I will outsource the project to a different company. So that to that company I will provide the requirement, and then those company will build the solution and will manage the entire project. Okay. Then you have total outsourcing. Supplier given full responsibility for the select function, catering or security, something like that.
Only three types.
Yes.
Basic benefits of outsourcing.
Yeah. So what are the benefits? Here we need to compare that we are losing money or we are making out the money. So see, a couple of the benefits is like you are improving the organizational focus, means you are going to concentrate more on your core competencies and not on your non-core competence part. You will have a benefit on the cost. You will have a benefit in the flexibility. You will have like less staff, so you don't need to hire more people. You don't need to lay off more people if you're following a chase strategy. You will have a improved service levels, and you will have less risk. So there are a couple of problems also with outsourcing, like specific or unique knowledge of the business is required. Let's say the company, there's an IT organization which is working into a credit card business, and they want to make a project on credit card, right? And they are outsourcing it to their vendor. The vendor has taken the project, but vendor does not know any ABC of the business. Then the vendor need to have the skill set for that. For the skill set, the employees should have the proper skill and they should have the knowledge. So that is an issue in outsourcing. Unless and until your vendor does not understand your requirement, the vendor does not have the proper skill set, your project would be in a turmoil situation.
Okay.
Okay. So you should have into a long-term commitment. You will have a dependency on your supplies, and you will have less flexibility, high staff turnover, and all these things.
Coordination problems.
Yeah.
Quality of service. High staff turnover.
So,
Complacency or time. What is complacency or time means?
pardon?
Complacency or time is what?
Competency or?
Complacency or time.
Just a second, let me check. Com
Okay. Complacency or time. Lack of commitments to clients or industry. Poor project management. Lack of control over larger suppliers. Okay.
so there are
Go to the next one.
yeah. So there are 7 steps of outsourcing decision. Want to produce goods ourselves? Do you want to produce it or not? Then can we license technology? Can we buy from best suppliers? Can we establish joint development project? Can we enter long-term developments or purchase agreement? Can we acquire best in the world supplier? Can we establish effective management of supplier? Outsource. Based on this question, we can take a decision whether we can go for outsourcing or not. So if we say that can want to produce goods ourselves, so are we capable to do that or not? If not, then we should think about buy, not to make strategy. Can we license technology? Means for manufacturing a wheel, I am a cycle manufacturing organization, which for and I do not manufacture wheel. But for manufacturing a wheel, I need to set up a plant. So from where the money is going to come, from where the technology is going to come. So can I able to get that? If your answer is no, then you cannot go into a make style. Can we buy from best suppliers? Can we establish joint development project? Can we enter long-term development or purchase agreement? Can we acquire best in the world suppliers? Can we establish effective management of supplier? So using these questions, we can tell whether we can go for outsourcing or not.
So the answer is yes, we can go for outsourcing.
Yes. So how are we going to measure the performance of an outsourcer? So typically consider measuring like response time. How good is my supplier? How fast is he? How is his responsiveness? Is there any downtime? Turnaround time or schedule performance? Performance report, satisfactory performance statement. Penalties for non-performance. So in this manner we can measure the performance of a supplier. Buying or doing subcontracting decisions.
Dramatically increasing subcontracting fees, royalties, and wages. Hello?
Yeah. So buying or doing subcontracting services, like certain activities in public sector were required to go to competitive tender as per the rule. Many large organizations decided to stick to the knitting, concentrate on core competencies and diverse peripheral activities. Rapid technological changes has enabled subcontracting to provide changes before competition. Now, like companies like SanDisk, okay, these companies they go into a contract manufacturing. Okay, so what these companies say that I will give you the design, I will give you the money, I will give you the raw material. You need to produce it. You need to manufacture it. So the manufacturing does not come on the head of this company. And in that manner, they are very responsive to the market because they will just consider on the demand. They will consider on the design and raw material. So as soon as they change the design, they will give it to the manufacturer who is specialized to have this flexibility in design change, in have flexibility in to increase the output, can produce more or can change their production also as per the design, and in this manner both the organization will be in a win-to-win scenario and their productivity will increase together. This is the same thing what we have discussed, like overloading of machinery or labor, reasons for outsourcing, and cheaper to subcontract than manufacture internally. Even like in a cycle, if you need to set up a plant for wheel manufacturing, that will be too costly. Rather than that, just go and buy wheels. Now, what is the difference between a subcontracting and outsourcing? If you want the beautiful lawn in neighborhood and you hire someone to take care of every aspect of lawn care, including cutting the grass, weed control, watering and fertilizing, it is a strategic sourcing, right? But hiring someone to only cut the lawn is subcontracting. So basically, at a high level, if you want to do lot of things, we are doing a outsourcing. But if we are outsourcing, if we are uh, giving the work to someone else only for one particular task, then it becomes a subcontracting. So how do we select a subcontractor? So again, it's the same reason that what is the company's specialization. Suppose that my task is to weld, okay? So if I give my work outside in the market for welding, then it is a subcontracting. So what I need to know is that who is the person, who all are the people who are specialized in welding, and what is the how much money are they going to charge, what is their reliability, what is their throughput, how is their relationship, have they been approved for government work or not, are their quality systems adequate, how are they reliable, financially how good they are, how is their employee skill set and everything.
One question.
Hmm.
What are the industrial relations required? Means whether they are able to meet the commitments previously made or not.
What are their industrial relations record? So what is their rating in the industry? So if I consider the entire welding industry or in the steel industry, how good are they rated? How is their recommendation? So that will talk about the quality, that will talk about the reliability on that particular vendor. That will tell me that if I give the work to this person, he can make sure that the work is delivered to me in the required specified time. He can comfortably or he can manage the lead time, and he can provide me the work with a good quality.
So it indicates that whether they are able to meet their previous commitments or not.
Correct. So now working with a subcontractor. When you are working with a subcontractor, like you need to think about what tools, equipment are available to the subcontractor.